time for the strategist. I love this. I always like to say, one Republican, one Democrat. You know, it's like The Apprentice. And it's Todd Harris, of course, on my right over here, and Steve McMahon over here closer to me. These guys are great. Let's talk about the latest we saw here early in the program tonight on live television here in real time. Ed Rendell, the governor of Pennsylvania, and Tom Ridge, the very popular ex-governor, had this to say about the importance of this state. And by the way, it's become the Keystone State this year. Just like Tim would always talk about Florida, this year it seems to be Pennsylvania. Seems to be.
If Tom Ridge were on the ticket, Pennsylvania would absolutely be a toss-up.
And we believe if we win Pennsylvania, we win the presidency.
Wow, the former governor of Minnesota, by the way, his name's Arnie Carlson, endorsed Barack Obama today. Here's a portion of what he had to say to the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, the big paper out there. Quote, Carlson also took aim at Minnesota U.S. Representative Michelle Bachmann, saying that her controversial remarks of the past week suggesting Obama may have anti-American attitudes or views had led him to endorse the Democratic nominee. After hearing Bachmann's comments, Carlson said he telephoned former Vice President Walter Mondale, the Minnesota Democrat, to tell him of his plan. Steve McMahon, it's amazing because, I had nothing to do with this. I asked a couple of questions. We got these amazing answers by the Congresswoman, and you never know if anybody's critical about it. You never know what people are going to say. You can only ask the questions. And apparently, Colin Powell was moved by what he saw here. It shows a lot of people are paying attention. This is a tricky time when people are making political decisions based on something they just heard. I tend to think a long time about how I'm going to vote. But some people are just making decisions. Oh, I don't like the way I heard that. That tone of voice offended me. I'm going the other way. You know, it's interesting.
I think for a lot of swing voters out there, they were evaluating this the way Colin Powell sounds like he was evaluating it. He said that he believes that the party that he was a part of for so long has gone a little too far to the right. And I think an outburst like Congresswoman Bachmann's outburst on Friday, where she's calling Democrats in Congress un-American, and she's saying the press needs to investigate who's un-American, causes people to wonder, people who are swing voters, whether the party has gone off the deep end. Obviously, Arnie Carlson felt that way. I think there are a lot of other people. $700,000 was raised by her Democratic opponent.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
Raised too.
So she struck a nerve, and she struck a chord with undecided.
Well, let me ask a nonpartisan question. People had enough of partisanship, a virulent partisanship, like the other side's unpatriotic. The other side's the bad guy, not just do we disagree.
Yeah, I think people are more than ready for this election to be over. When it comes to whether it's Arnie Carlson or, and I don't put Colin Powell in this category, but that in politics the assumption of success has almost as many fathers as actual success does. And I think a lot of people, particularly in Minnesota, Minnesota Republicans like Arnie Carlson might feel, they're going to cut their losses and go with McCain. I don't know why he did it. Colin Powell laid out a very long, almost prosecutorial-like argument for his decision to back Obama. Senator McCain has said he still, of course, has great respect for General Powell.
It was predicated on the direction that the party had taken, the reaction of Senator McCain in the economic crisis, and I think on Senator McCain's judgment in picking Sarah Palin, which I think Colin Powell believed was an indicator of not necessarily just his judgment, but of the direction in which he would take the country. And I think he thinks it's a direction that's going too far to the right for the Republican Party, and he doesn't want to be any part of it. I think you see that in swing voters a lot of places.
I also think that,
I agree with you, Todd. I think the country has had it for this period of divisiveness. And one thing I was up with, it was a largely black crowd, African-American crowd in North Philly, a tough neighborhood. And I heard Barack Obama. These people weren't interested in getting even or getting a bigger piece of the pie. That wasn't what sold them in terms of the crowd. And they were down-and-out people for 50 years up there. What grabbed them was the line where he said, I think the people want a president who will unite us, not a president who will divide us. And they went nuts for that. So even people who have been down and out, who have not gotten much of the action in terms of economic hope in this country, all they want, it seems, is end this division. I thought that was heartwarming to me from a crowd that was not exactly happy with the way their lives have gone.
Well, and one of the things that I think a lot of people, one of the criticisms that some people have been lodging against the McCain campaign is that the John McCain that the country sort of fell in love with is the kind of John McCain, and I still think that's who this man is.
McCain.
No, the man who really could reach across and bring the entire country.
Oh, that guy. Because there was two guys that were working at the same time that people liked. They liked the guy who took on power And they also like the guy that could cut deals across the aisle. And by the way, I don't know if Barack is as good at that yet. I don't see any evidence that Barack is as good at cutting deals across the aisle as he was with McCain-Feingold, as he was with Patient's Bill of Rights, because McCain is good at that. Maybe because he is a maverick and he likes to cross the aisle, because mavericks get along better with the other side than they do with their own people. Right, Steve?
No, they do. But McCain was that person. He was that person that everybody fell in love with. He was the Democrats' favorite Republican until he decided, I think after the Kerry campaign in 2004, that the only way for him to become president was to go to the right to support the president and to become George Bush Jr.
Todd, does your party, the Republican Party, need to pick up a surprise state like Pennsylvania to offset losses elsewhere? Former Governor Ridge said that's a fact. You need Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Todd Harris. Thank you, Steve McMahon. We're making so much news here. By the way, I refer you from now on as a senior Republican advisor, and I won't say who you are. That'll get more news. I love this guy, Karl Rove. Don't say who I am. That'll get. If Rove said it, it wouldn't mean anything but a senior man who refused to identify himself.